Sorry about that. Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning po.
Good morning, sir.
Morning po, sir.
Just a second. All right. So class, I understand that the final output for video production is the one that you are working on right now, right, class? So there will be no final examination. There will be no any other output left in the video production. Now, since we are about to end the semester, and based on our calendar, the last day of this semester is around 3 weeks from now, so February 28th. Okay, and what is left, class, to be done in your class is the final examination for CCB, right? So yun na lang yung agenda na gagawin natin is your final output in the call center basics. So meron pang I need to discuss, which is the one that we will be discussing right now. So even though, class, that our schedule for this morning is for video production, okay, we will use this time for us to discuss our agendas in the BPO basic. Okay lang ba sa inyo yun, class? Ganito kasi, class, para after this, I discuss, okay, how will be your final output in call center basic. Yun na yun. You just need to finalize para makakapag-focus na kayo sa post-production sa video production. Okay, so I'm sure you are done with the production phase, so nasa post-production na lang kayo, so that you can focus on that. We'll be talking from now on is purely all the call center basics. So our agenda is to explain it today, and our target is to start the final output next week. Okay, so that probably half of you will be finished with your final output with your CCB, and you are also working on in your video production. So next week, almost around 50% done. We are about 50% done with the semester. Then as we proceed before third week of February, then we are done with everything. Okay. So what I will discuss right now is your final output. So I mentioned before that the final output in the BPO basic is consists of the 20 checklists that I provided, and there will be changes to that. So that's what I will be discussing right now. Let me share my screen. Okay. So our agendas for today, and this is where your final output will be based on. So we'll talk about the CSA, or the communication skills assessment, and identify what's inside, or what are those different categories of CSA, and explain on how being mindful of the CSA or customers communication skills assessment categories can lead to a good CSA score. Okay. So what is the CSA? So this is not the CSAT. This is the Communication Skills Assessment, not the Customer Satisfaction Survey. So this is a diagnostic tool that is used to determine a person's communication level. Okay, but this is being used by the TA or talent and acquisition team. But they are basically the HR, the hiring team that is tasked to um, to acquire new hires. Okay, so sila yung mga nasa usherette, they conduct the initial interview and the whole interview process, the initial mock call to assess the CSA. Okay, next is the voice and accent training. During your voice and accent training, you will be assessed with the CSA skills 2. Okay, so imagine your full training is 4 weeks. So 1/4 of those training is dedicated to voice and accent training. Okay, so voice and accent training, then the rest is process training. So this is the process training. Process training meaning this is where you will learn about the account. So voice and accent training, you will not be talking about anything account related. But in process training, that this is where everything, the troubleshooting, okay, the process, the timeline, the billing date, etc. So this dito na yung process training. And once you pass the CSA from the hiring process, sa VA training or voice and accent training, the process training, once you pass all of those, you will be endorsed to the production floor. And inside the production floor, every month, your QA will pick one of your calls, random sampling yung magaganap. Then you will be asked to, they will assess that using the CSA. So every month, for your entire stay in the BPO world, there will be a CSA score dedicated for you. And you will be coached by your team leader, okay, regarding your performance in that particular call. So that's the CSA, Communication Skills Assessment. So bottom line is you cannot escape the CSA from the hiring process, okay, to the VA training, process training, and once you graduate to all of that, you will still be assessed in the CSA. So what's inside the CSA? Very simple, the message and information, the tone, expression, and smiles, your vocab, okay, your listening comprehension, the language structure, the pronunciation, and the customer satisfaction. We'll dive into each of the category. So message and information, how you organize your thoughts, okay, thought organization, okay, does the things that you are mentioning make sense? So there will be a corresponding form after this slideshow that's the exact form that you will be using on your final assessment. Your eagerness to help, the tone, expression, and smiles. Are you jolly enough that the customer wants to, their experience to you is pleasant enough for them to stay? Next, your vocab, word choices. Okay, does it fit, or does your idiomatic expressions, do they get your references? And listening comprehension, understanding what are their concern. Grammar, very basic, the SVA, okay, subject verb agreement. The enunciation, okay, the difference between pronunciation and enunciation, we'll explain that later. The enunciation basically is the clarity and distinctness of how you say the word, okay? And pronunciation is how correctly you say the word, okay? So later we'll define that, we'll differentiate it even more. And of course, the customer satisfaction. So these are the percentage inside the message and information, the tone and smiles, your vocab, the listening comprehension, 20%, language structure, 10, pronunciation, 10, and lastly, the customer satisfaction is 20%. So this is how you will be scored. So later class, pay attention also because I will give examples of calls with a score of 2, with a score of 3, with a score of 4, and with a score of 6. So you'll have a listening activity and we'll talk about that. We'll dissect that, what went wrong and what went right. So this is the target, the meets expectations, just a grade of 3. So anything lower than 3, I mean, if it reaches 4, that is slightly below expectation. So if during the hiring process, this is what usually the HR would say to you, that you need just try again after 3 months. Okay. Pag nasa 3.9 ka, pwede pa yon. Okay. Pero pag nasa level ka na ng 4, 4.0, 4.1, then they'll probably ask you to apply some other time. But if you are in the training process already, okay, for example, nasa voice and accent training ka na, then suddenly, naging 4 yung score mo, most likely, you will not continue training. Okay? They will ask you to go to a different account, probably local, or ultimately, they will let you go right there and then. Okay? You will not proceed to the training process. Kapag bumagsak ka sa CSA. So usually, pangalawang araw pa lang ng training, nagkakandak na ng CSA or Communication Skills Assessment. So, di ba? Na-meet mo na yung mga waymates mo tapos hindi ka nakapasa ng CSA sa second day, then you will not continue training. So here, as mentioned, you will have your CSA during the recruitment, and that will be filed in your folder in the HR office. So ano yung initial CSA score mo? Then you will also be during the training. So of course, kung sa initial hiring process, yung CSA score mo is around 3.5, which is still meets expectations, then most probably, sana pag sa training ka na, mas mataas na sa 3.5. Sa target mo na sa 2.9 na or 3.2, something like that. And you will also, okay. And you will be also assessed using the CSA all throughout the process training. And once you start taking in calls, as I mentioned, you cannot escape the CSA. So it's better that ngayon pa lang is ino-orient pa kayo what's inside the CSA. Message and information, this is the first category in the CSA form. Was the message delivered by the agent or you understood? So how organized are your thoughts in delivering messages? So we talk about this, okay? And proactive with information. So meaning you need to provide information that will not make them call again because you forgot to provide that information. Okay. And little or no clarification from the caller. So if everything went well, then you will have most likely exceeds expectations. So grade of 2, okay, not just 3, probably 2 if you did well here. Or if you really excel in providing and helping the customer, then they'll grade a grade of 1. Next is the tone and expression. Did you use the correct tone of voice, the pacing, and will able to deliver the message? Could you hear the agent smile? So do you feel that the agent love his works, not just to survive the day? Something like that. So that's tone, expression, and smiles. So sounds eager to help. Okay. Sincere tone. Not robotic or monotonous, just like me. So I have a tendency to talk in a very monotonous, So dapat may mga techniques kayo, class, na sometimes lalakasan yung boses nyo or hihinaan nyo or depending on the pacing of the customer so that there is some sort of engagement value. Next is vocab, correct word choice. So you use instead of saying, I cannot comprehend you. Okay, you are mentioning that to customer. I cannot comprehend you. So might as well say, do you mind? Say that again. Yeah, something like that. If you really cannot understand the customer the first time, okay, rather than saying the inappropriate, it's not inappropriate, but it's just it is not being used on the usual basis. You know, the word comprehend or or um, the word seize or conceal. Okay, so you need to conceal um, the bill. Okay, instead of saying you need to keep the bill in a safe place. You mentioned conceal. So those words. Okay. So and also the other thing, albeit, diba? You know the word albeit. That's the synonym of the word although, albeit. So those things, and as long as the you are talking in the spectrum of a normal daily usage of words, not in a scientific way or in a overly complicated words, which is unnecessary, that might have a tendency that the customer might not understand that. So just use the normal usual words to that. Next is the jargon, as explained. So we all know what's jargon and how to use them. And as much as possible, refrain from using jargon. So ayun, another word, refrain, meaning avoid, okay, and speaks exclusively in English. So if you talk in Tagalog and not English words during your CSA assessment from grade of 3, which is meets expectation. So siyempre, bababa yun sa slightly below expectation. So magiging 4 pag nag-mention ka ng Tagalog words. Then avoid fillers. Okay lang mag-fillers if it does not impacted the call too much. So it's fine to do that once in a while. You are still that meets expectation. But if you use the fillers too much, then you might get a grade of 4. Or if you don't use fillers, you probably will get a grade of 2 for this. Okay, next is the listening comprehension. Um, you will you understand the customer's concern. Okay, no, you don't have to ask the customer to repeat their concern. That's why paraphrasing is important, and it's better if you combine paraphrasing with empathy so that it will not sound robotic. Okay, I understand that we already talked about that. Next is appropriate and timely responses. Okay, so you don't unusually pause for 2 to 3 seconds without the customer knowing if you are still there or you got what they mean. That's why verbal nods is all very important. Okay, a little or no clarification from the agent. Okay, so the customer understand you the first time. Does not parrot the caller's speech. So what do you mean by parrot? It means that you verbatimly paraphrase the customer's concern. Okay? Kaya nga paraphrasing you altered it a bit so it will not sound like you are just repeating their concern. For example here, I had a really tough day at work today, and you respond as, you had a tough day at work today. So you just repeat the customer. So it's better if you combine your paraphrasing with empathy. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that you had a quite a tough day at work today, Mr. Lewis. So I hope tomorrow will be better than today, something like that. Then able to summarize if necessary. Okay. Okay, this is another thing that is being check in the communication skills assessment, your basic grammar structure. As long as you are not confused with the SVA, the subject verb agreement, then you are good to go. So accurate sentence structure. So SVA, and avoid transliteration. What's transliteration? It's literally translating the Tagalog equivalent of those words into English. So we Filipinos have tendency to do that, okay? Because we think in Tagalog and we know that we have to say it in English. So we literally translate the Tagalog words to English equivalent, even though it doesn't sound right, right? For example, sino sasalo ng bayad, di ba? We usually say that. And who will catch the payment? So it doesn't sound right. Though you literally translate the Tagalog to English, but it doesn't sound right. For example, another thing, di ba, kapag nagbibiroan kayo, gusto mo, di ba, may kinakain ka, gusto mo, sabihin, tumabog puso mo. If you convert that to English, you want your mouth to explode. So something like that. They literally translate the Tagalog to English. Si Michael B. yung magaling magpauso ng mga transliteration na kanta, di ba? Alam niyo ba yung kanta na ano? Yung another one bites the dust. And si Michael B., may isa na namang kumagat sa alikabok. Di ba? That's the literal translation of transliteration. From another one bites the dust. May isa na namang kumagat sa alikabok. Yeah. O, diba? That's transliteration. You literally translate the Tagalog to English. So the S rules, very basic. Nouns are usually made plural by adding S in it, but the opposite applies to the verbs. So if the verb have an S, instead of being plural, it is made singular. Okay, so that's just the S rule or the subject verb agreement. So the S will always appear in either the noun or the verb, but not both. But there are also exemptions to this. English language have a lot of exemptions, okay? Exceptions. For example, the I and you does not apply. Even though the I is singular, you still need to use the love, okay? I love you, which is still the plural form of the verb love, even though the I is singular. So that's an exception. The I love you love me, okay? Not you loves me. If we apply the SVA form, it will become the I loves you. Kasi singular. We'll also use the singular form of verb, but that's the exemption. Also, another exemptions are the pork and beans, and mac and cheese, and black and white. Okay, so black and white or pork and beans is my favorite snack. So even though it is pork and beans, so it sounds plural, but it is considered singular because it is considered as one unit or one entity. Same with mac and cheese. So even though they are two, that is considered one unit. So we consider them as singular, not plural. And black and white, also, those are the exceptions in the SVA form. So later you will, as long as you are not confused with the SVA, you are good to go. The boy loves his mother, okay? And the boys love their mother. So that's the SVA form. So yan, I love you, you love me. So singular form verbs are verbs that S use with a singular subject, of course. So if we use the verb with S is a singular form, okay? So examples are runs, eats, watches, studies, walks, talks, lives, sings, dances, and laughs. And we use this, of course, with singular noun so that it fits together. And of course, the plural form verbs are the run, eat, so without an S verbs. So that's the plural form. And we also use this in the plural nouns. Okay, the boys run into each other. So there. Once you reach on the college level, pag nasa college level na kayo class, you are studying it since high school, elementary, and senior high. Parang nagtotono na lang kayo ng gitara niyan. Okay? So if it doesn't sound right, then it's probably isn't right. So you pause. So is the SVA correct? Then, pero may mga ano naman yan. Yun nga, exceptions to the rule. And also there are instances that your brain, your mouth talk faster than your brain can process it. So even though we clearly know that it should not have an S in it, but we use the plural form instead of the singular form, it doesn't mean that we don't know it. It's just our mouth talk faster than our brain can process it. Okay, there are instances, kahit nga mga as simple as yung he and she, di ba? His and her. We sometimes forget, or we use he instead of she, even though it's very simple thing to say, but once we are in the momentum of saying something, we might, somehow say it incorrectly. But we all know that it doesn't mean that we don't know that. Okay, but if you keep on saying that, then it's probably you need to review the SVA. Next, the pronunciation. Does it have a negative impact? Now, the rule class is that you don't necessarily have to mimic or to follow or to really strictly mimic the accent of British, American. Neutral accent is will do. Okay. So avoid sound substitution, the P and the F, and the V and the V. Okay, so we talked about that already. Then the correct syllables stresses. So this is usually the things that we mixed up. I observed this, the caterpillar and the category. So we always say caterpillar, right? Wala naman tayo na-encounter na tao na ang pronunciation niya ng caterpillar is caterpillar, right? We don't say that. But we encounter a lot of people who are pronouncing the word category as category. Kaya class, may kilala ba kayong tao na ang pronunciation niya ng category is category? So if you pronounce category as category, it's the same thing as pronouncing caterpillar as caterpillar. So pronouncing category as category is very wrong. So from now on, you just say category, not category. Okay? So enunciation versus pronunciation is the art of speaking words clearly and concisely. And pronunciation is the act of speaking words correctly. So even though class, it's you can enunciate certain words and still be understandable. Okay? You can pronounce words without being it's still understandable. But enunciation, this is very crucial. Because you can say certain words with wrong pronunciation, but it is understandable. Okay, so enunciation, it's the art of speaking clearly, concisely, and distinctly. If you enunciate certain words, okay, incorrectly, then you cannot understand it totally. But in pronunciation, even though you mispronounce, okay, a words, that is still understandable. Okay, so enunciation, wrong enunciation, no conversation will take place. But wrong pronunciation, okay, you can still understand. Because pronunciation, there are a lot of factors that affect pronunciation. Your accent, okay, so those one things. So it can affect your pronunciation. But in enunciation, that is more of a mechanical way of saying things. But you cannot really totally understand it. Okay? So enunciation, speaking words clearly and concisely, distinctly, you understand it. Okay? Now, pronunciation is the act of speaking words correctly. So that's just the difference between pronunciation and enunciation. So what you need to pay attention to, even though we talk about the pronunciation, is your enunciation. Because wrong enunciation, there will be no conversation. You cannot totally understand the person, what is that person is talking to, because the words that he is mentioning is not distinct, clear, or concise. But in pronunciation, even though wrong pronunciation, you will still get the message. Okay? That's why even though we focus on pronunciation, naiintindihan na natin sa pronounce niya, is tama pa yung pronunciation natin. So, we go beyond. So, ang target lang natin is to really enunciate words correctly. Okay? But we talk about pronunciation and the correct pronunciation so that it will be more pleasing sa pandinig. So that's the difference between pronunciation and enunciation. Okay? So clear ba, class? Can you give me a thumbs up if the difference between enunciation and pronunciation is clear to you? Okay? So if you are confused with the pronunciation, just make sure that you enunciate those words correctly. Okay? So you can practice the pronunciation as you go ahead. As long as you say those words clearly, distinctly, enunciate it well, then there will be conversation that will take place. Next is the customer satisfaction, of course. We're able to satisfactorily help the customer. Ang highest possible grade na makukuha mo lang dito is the 3 or excellent interaction. Then concern, resolve but nothing great. Okay. 5, bad call. Then 6, escalation. Okay, before we listen to the call recordings here, an example of a score of 2, an example of score of 3, 4, and red. I'll show you first the form where you will be graded in your final assessment. For example, ano kayo? Wave 32. Kasi wave 3, section 3 to kayo din. So, imagine you are wave 32. Then, this is the CSA form. And the first category is message and information. This is how you will be graded. The rubric. So 1, if this is the highest possible grade that you can get. So 1. So, grade lang kayo 1. Tone expression, let's say 1 then. Vocabulary, 2. Listening comprehension, 3. So language structure, so let's say 4. And pronunciation, let's say 4 then. Then customer satisfaction, hindi mo natulungan. So yun. So that's your total score, 2.8. Okay, so ano lang to sample. For example, si Dainty. Siya yung una. By the way, class, ano alphabetical. In alphabetical orders. So Dainty, Joella, Benarber, Francisco, and so on and so forth. That's how you will be graded. So this is the exact form that I'll be using to assess you in the CSA. So 2.8. So pasado siya. Pasado si Dainty with flying colors. So let's say message information 4, tone expression 4, then vocab 2, pwede. Listening comprehension 3, language structure 4, pronunciation 4, customer satisfaction, hindi niya natulungan. Hindi ganun ka satisfactorily. So pasado pa rin ba? 3.6. Basta 4 pataas is the failing score. So, paano ba natin ma-assess? So, message and information, easily understood by the caller or the agent, the customer that you are talking to. All relevant information provided and explained. Additional information that may be helpful to the customer may be provided. So 2, if it's comprehensible with little clarification regarding the relevant information. Generally comprehensible. Some clarification is needed, but the meaning of message and most relevant information is not impacted. The customer understands the meaning and the message being delivered. So that meets expectations. Now for a 4, slightly below expectations, somehow comprehensible. Okay, still comprehensible. Clarification is needed. There are some contradictions, gaps, or redundancies. You keep on saying, okay, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. So redundancies. The meaning of the message may not be immediately understood, but the customer is eventually clarified. So, yun. Below expectation, at times may be difficult to understand the message. Okay. Clarification is requested frequently. Customer may leave the call without clarity of the information shared. Difficult, then 6 is difficult to understand. So yun, sa message and information. Then let's proceed to the tone and smiles. So help me out here. Any volunteer wants to read the greatly exceeds expectation and the tone and smiles? Anyone? Any volunteer class? Read it to the class. The greatly exceeds expectation in the category of tone, expression, and smiles. Yes, Joella, please read it to us. This one.
Sa una po.
Yes, tone, expression, and smiles, then greatly exceeds expectations. Parang kakagising mo lang, Joella.
Hindi pa. Effortless and smooth, exhibits a high degree of fluency. Tone and pitch are used not only to emphasize keywords, phrases, but also to enhance the communication flow. Tone and expression sounds genuine and not forced. A smile is always heard.
Okay, thank you so much. So if that's your performance under the tone, expression, and smiles, you will get a grade of 1 or greatly exceeds expectations. Okay, thanks, Joella. Now let's hear it from Berhel. Can you read the grade of 2, score of 2 in the tone, expression, and smiles?
Hello po, sir. Rinig po, sir.
Yes.
Tone, expression, and smile. Sa 2 po, sir, no? No unnatural poses. Users vary tone and pitch depending on the overall message being delivered. A smile is heard during the majority of the interaction.
Okay. So, masisense mo naman, class, di ba, na yung agent you are talking to, if you are the customer, are smiling, okay, or perky during the conversation, which is what they are looking for in this category. Okay, now the meets expectation in the tone, expression, and smiles. Okay, raise your hand, class, if you want to read. None. Okay, dainty.
Yung sa ano po, sir? Yung sa number 3 na po. Fairly smooth with a few unnatural pauses. Slight choppiness may be noted. Uses some variety in tone and pitch to emphasize important words or phrases. A smile is heard during key points within the interaction.
Okay, so still, even though the smile is not heard all throughout the call, but during maybe the first part of the call, the agent is trying to build a rapport, just to build connection. So that is enough. That is meets expectations already. Now for below expectation in the tone, expression, and smiles. Let's hear it from the Norber.
Occasionally halting and fragmentary with unnatural pauses, choppiness, or native intonation pattern. Monotonous or robot-like, tone and pitch, if varied, may sound forced or may be heard customer response rather than as a regular.
Okay, so thank you. The Norber. Now, for below expectations in the tone and expression category. Can you read it to us, Jericho? May sasalita ka na ba, Jericho? Hindi ka na marinig. Oh my goodness. Kanina pa pala akong naka-ash ketchum. Ay, naklas kasi bawal pangalanan to ng sarili mo. Yung Zoom na to kasi may ka-Zoom buddy akong co-faculty ko. So, dalawa kami. Bawal pangalanan sa sarili mo. So, you need to choose any generic name. Jericho, hindi ka pa rin namin marinig. Oo. So, si ano na lang. Sige, adjust mo muna yung headset mo. While waiting for you to adjust that, let's hear it from Kim Lopez.
Sir, napalitan po ng co-ed yung sa below expectation.
Sorry.
So, below expectation, halting and fragmentary with unnatural pauses, choppiness, or native intonation pattern throughout entire conversation. Will sound monotonous or Robert-like with routine discussion points. Tone and pitch, if varied, may sound forced or phony. A smile is rare if ever heard.
Okay, so yun. Phony meaning low quality. Okay, so force and low quality. Parang lethargic. You know what's lethargic? It's like yung pagod na pagod ka. Lethargic. Lethargic type of existence. So, parang pagod na pagod ka talaga. Okay, now the last one, unacceptable. Dun sa tone, expression, and smiles. Justin, can you read it to us?
Very halting and fragmentary with many unnatural pauses. Sounds highly mechanical or robot-like throughout the interaction. Very monotonous throughout the interaction. Any variety in tone or pitch is either accidental or forced. There is no smile heard.
Okay, so there. Yung suddenly, parang just to build rapport, parang nagiging rude na. Yung agent sabi, yes ma'am! Magkaroon siya. Just para lang hindi maging monotonous. So, kahit na hindi niya intention maging rude, yung impact nun, parang nagiging rude. Kasi nga, gusto niya lang magkaroon ng change sa pacing nung pag-mention. Okay, now let's proceed to the vocab. Grade of 1 would be, can you read it as Genevieve?
Sir, doon po sa exceeds expectations po.
Yes, sa vocab.
Narinig po ako, sir.
Yes.
Is appropriate for the call, speaks with relative ease, though may pauses to gather thoughts or provide an explanation of terms used.
Okay, thank you. That's for the exceeds expectation. Now read also the greatly exceeds expectations. This one.
is used accurately with creative variety, accurately defines any jargon without being prompted by the caller.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And that's greatly exceeds expectation. For exceeds expectations is speaks with relative ease, though may pauses to gather thoughts or provide an explanation or terms. It's just very normal. Okay. You don't uh, have to make it like you are an AI. You are still human. So occasional pauses it still exceeds expectations. Okay. By the way, pala class dito ko nilalagay yung mga note ko na yung mga kung bakit 4 lang yung nakuha mo or 5. So yun, dito ako naglalagay ng notes. Now for meets expectations sa vocab. Let's hear it from Daniel.
Ako po ba, sir?
Yes, Tolentino.
Ay, wala ako. Sorry.
Sige. Si Tolentino. Next ka na, Perez.
Sa meet expectation po, sir, di ba?
Ay, wait lang. One moment. Sa...
Number 3 po.
Hindi, 1 muna. 1. Ay, sorry. Yes, number 3 na tayo sa vocab.
Exhibit some incorrect usage but does not impact discussion. Occasionally, at a loss for words, may use filler at times, may speak at a slower rate while translating from native language to English, uses jargon with or without defining.
Okay, thank you. Okay, tuloy mo na. Hanggang dito sa slightly below expectation.
Is limited and occasionally inaccurate which may cause misunderstandings. Readily uses jargon without defining it, may accidentally use a native word or utterance, with use fillers while searching for the proper word or phrases.
Yun. So usually the most common Tagalog words that is being mentioned during the call is ano. Okay. So yung word na ano. And minsan ano, sandali. Or wag. Yun, wag. So those were usually Tagalog words. Okay. For below expectations and unacceptable for the vocab. Sige, ikaw na, Perez. Pakibasa to. Sa number 5 muna. Sa grade of 5. Below expectations.
Is frequently inaccurate, which will cause misunderstandings. Uses jargons without defining it. Native words or utterances will be noted. Oo, ano. There will be frequent usage of fillers.
Okay. Then the unacceptable.
Is very poor, regularly inaccurate, obviously struggling for words. First languages words may be used by the agent or may be heard in the background.
Okay. So you don't worry about the herd in the background. So yun. That's the unacceptable. Now let's proceed to the listening comprehension. Greatly exceeds expectation. Let's hear it from Shai.
Understands the caller with ease, does not ask the client to repeat statements unless they are inaudible or muffled, able to summarize or paraphrase the discussion as appropriate, clarifies or expands on the customer's request during his or her own words.
Okay. Okay, now read also the exceeds expectations.
Understands the caller with minimal clarification, gives appropriate responses, may ask the client to repeat statements in order to summarize or paraphrase the discussion or narrow down the concern or question.
Okay, so thank you so much. Now for listening comprehension, meets expectations and slightly below expectations. Please read it to us, Marisol.
Understand the caller Understand the caller with some clarification of major points being discussed. Generally gives appropriate responses. May need to ask follow-up questions to clarify pertinent points. Able to give bullet point summary of the discussion when appropriate. Does not parrot the customer. Slightly below expectations. Has some difficulty understanding the key points of the discussion. Ask the customer to repeat himself due to misunderstand, not inaudible, muffled speech. Occasionally ask irrelevant questions and gives inappropriate responses. Has difficulty pinpointing client's major area of concern. Parroting may be encountered.
Okay, thank you. Now for below expectation and unacceptable in the listening comprehension. Jasper?
Yes po, sir. Frequent parroting will be noted. Paraphrasing will be attempted and it may be inaccurate. Agent eventually understands the customer's request or question but only after multiple attempts. Sa unacceptable, unable to follow the flow of the conversation, asks irrelevant questions, frequently asks client to repeat himself, unable to determine client's major area of concern. The agent will parrot back the customer concern to mask his or her lack of understanding.
So totally, you don't have any idea what the customer wants in the listening comprehension. That's why it's always have your open and close-ended questions readily available so that you can do the funneling technique. Okay, can pinpoint the actual customer's concern. Kasi you are not there in helping the customer. You are there in the extracting what the customer needs. Nandun ka pa lang. So, hindi mo pa siya matutulungan kung hindi mo pa alam kung ano talaga yung gusto niya. So, for language structure, for greatly exceeds expectations and exceeds expectations. Can you read it to us, Aaron James?
Sir, rinig po ba?
Yes.
Medyo maingay nasa labas po. Greatly exceeds expectations, employs complex structures and speech, demonstrates a sophistication beyond that which has been, been studied. Sentence structure follows all standard English rules.
Exceeds expectations?
So exceeds expectation naman po. Sentence structure follows all standard English rules. However, some mirror rule errors in verb tenses may be noted. These errors will be no impact on the communication process. No other errors outside verb tenses are present, or pronoun usage, etc.
All right, thank you. Next, for the language structure, meets expectations and slightly below expectations. Read it to us. Genevieve.
Sir, natawag na po ako.
Okay lang.
Saan po ulit, sir?
Language structure meets expectations and slightly below expectations.
Sir. Sentence structure is generally accurate. Errors with verb tense and pronoun usage may occur. Any errors on routine calls are normally corrected. Frequency of errors on complex calls will be higher with some corrections by the agent. Regardless of call type, the impact on conversation is minimal with no misunderstandings by the customer. Sentence structure on routine calls is accurate. Inconsistent structure is evident as calls become more complex or deviate from the normal call flow. Incorrect subject, verb, agreement, or other grammatical lapses have an impact on complex interactions.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, read the below expectation and unacceptable again, Joella.
Saan po ulit, sir?
The below expectations or the
Sentence
language structure.
construction. Sentence construction on routine calls is inaccurate. Complex calls may be difficult to follow or understand the sentence structure is used. Incorrect subject-verb agreement, pronouns, etc. have an impact to routine interactions.
And the unacceptable.
Communication flow is severely impacted. Incorrect usage of pronouns, subject-verb agreements, and other defects are found throughout the interaction.
Okay, thank you. Okay, dalawa na lang class, don't worry. Then we'll proceed to the call listening. So pronunciation greatly exceeds expectation and exceeds expectation. Please read it to us. May hindi pa ba ako natatawag? Magtaas na kayo ng kamay. Okay, si Jericho. Okay na yung mic niya. Go, Jericho.
No impact on the conversation is observed. Has native sounding vowels but no sound substitution. Does not mumble or mask any discussion points. Minimal impact on the conversation is observed. Has native sound vowels and one or two sound substitutions. May display errors in syllable stress. Does not mumble or mask critical discussion points.
Okay, thank you, Jericho. Now for score of 3 and 4, read it to us. Sino hindi pa tapos? Tapos kayo ng kamay. Lahat tapos na. So, read it to us again, Justin.
Saan po part ulit yun, sir?
Meets expectations sa pronunciation.
Okay. So, a slight impact on the conversation can be observed as native sounding vowels and most common sound substitutions may have few errors in syllables stress, does not mumble or mask routine discussion points. Complex or unfamiliar points may be attempted, but pronunciation is inaccurate.
Okay, so thank you. For score of 4, the slightly below expectation. Read it to us again, Justin.
Okay. Impact on the conversation is observed as native sounding vowels and several sound substitutions. Many words may be mispronounced with some confusions noted. May have numerous errors in syllables stress, may mumble or mask routine discussion points.
Okay, thank you. Now, for score of 5 and 6, read it to us, Maricel.
Impact on the conversation is observed. Has native sounding vowels and several sound substitution. Many words may be mispronounced, causing easily apparent confusion. Will have numerous errors in syllable stress. May mumble or mask routine discussion points. Complex and or critical discussion points may be omitted. Unacceptable. Pronunciation has an extreme impact on the conversation. Agent will routinely mask or mumble words. Frequent throat clearing and coughing may be used as a mask device.
Okay, so thank you. Now, lastly is the customer satisfaction, and the highest possible score that you can get here is just 3. Okay, so 3 is the meets expectations. If the observer was the customer, this interaction would warrant at the rating of the top 2 boxes. So ano to? The 3-star course, no. 5, this is already the 5-star that meets expectation. 5, 4, 3, then 3 pababa is unacceptable already. So means expectation 5-star, 4-star, 4-star, then 3-star pababa. And if the observer was a customer's rating, so ano na yan? You don't account specific na to. Kasi may ibang account na hindi sila by star basis. Ang basis nila is just yes or no. Okay? Are you satisfied? Yes. Are you not satisfied? No. Yun lang, yes, no. Yung iba naman kasi is 5-star, 4-star. Parang sa Shopee. So, ganun. So, yun lang. Yung target nyo is the highest possible is 3. Then slightly below expectation 5. Yeah. Kung na ano naman class na tulungan niyo naman ng customer. So nasa 3 naman kayo lagi yung makukuha ng grade. Okay. So ang highest possible na score na makukuha niyo ay 3. Let's say 1 ka, 1 ka din dito, 1 ka rin, 1 ka din, 1 ka din. So, si Dainty, 1.7. Ang 1.7 ay 1. Okay, for your final assessment. Then 1.8, probably 1.7 to 1.8, 1. Then 1.9 to 2, 125. Then 2.1 to 2.3, 1.5, and so on and so forth. So I'll give the corresponding in the GC, corresponding grades. Basta the highest possible grade na matatanggap nyo ay 1 of course. I'm sorry. It's hindi pala 1.7, 1.4 ang highest possible grade na makukuha. So 1.4 is the equivalent of 1. 1.4 to 1.5 is the 1, and so on and so forth. Ilalagay ko sa GC class yung final grade equivalent ng score nyo to the final assessment. Okay? So yun. So let's listen now to the call recording sample. Then listen to this closely class because we will dissect every call. So here is an example of a exceeds expectation call.
Let's first talk about the Xerox call flow. How did that go? All right, no problem. Xerox technical support has 5 call flow, and first is the opening. Hold on. What do you mean 5 call flow? I'm sorry, 5 parts. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. That's all right. All right. So 5 parts of Xerox technical support will be first is the opening spiel, where you have to brand the call by telling the customers the company, which is Xerox, and then your department, their name, for them to address you properly, and for them to have an idea that they have reached the right department. Right. And then after that, you verify some information, which is the second step, which is the verification. So first, you're going to have to ask for the serial number of the machine, and then their name, customer's name, and the phone number. And make sure when asking numbers, especially with serial number and with phone number, you have to verify it or you have to repeat it. Okay. Okay. And third step would be paraphrasing, wherein you have to repeat the concern in the most basic as possible, basic words as possible, so they will have an idea that you understand concern. So did you mean simple in simple terms or in simple words? That's right. That's right. Okay. Thank you. No problem. And after paraphrasing, we'll go to resolution, where you have to provide all the necessary troubleshooting steps for the customer to solve the problem or the concern. And then before we hit the 5th step, which is closing spiel, we're going to have to ask the clients first if there is anything else or any questions, so that if there is none, we're going to have to proceed with the closing spiel. What if they're in a hurry? if they're in a hurry, you can still ask. It's like part of the empathizing and or sympathizing or empathizing. I'm sorry. So if they're in a hurry, so just bite it and then go to the closing spiel and tell them again, branding the company, which is Xerox, and then your name and the department where you belong, and then you wish them good luck or wishing them to have a great day.
Okay.
So those are parts of the call flow.
Right, okay. And since you're going to be a technical support representative for Xerox UK, what do you think are the skills that you already have that will help you perform well on your job?
All right, perfect. So since my previous experience as a technical support as well, so it will be much easier for me to navigate the parts or the tools, especially with Xerox. I heard that we can physically, navigate the machines because we have it on the floor.
Yes.
So that will be an inch for me, or like, that could be 1 point for me to resolve a customer concern. Second thing is, I can do rapport, and in order for the customer to feel comfortable with me, I have to initiate a rapport to the customer so that they will feel confident, or so that for them to feel that they were in the right agent, or they've been handled by a right agent. So I think I have I have those skills like exerting an effort for rapport and for technical since I have technical background.
Okay.
That will be a part of my skill.
When you said you had technical background, what did you used to do?
Troubleshooting computers and connections.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
From a previous company?
That's right.
And how long did you do that?
For about 3 years already.
3 years?
That's right.
Did you find it difficult doing that over the phone?
At first it is, but as you go along, every day is a learning process. Much easier it would be easier for me to handle those technical issues.
Do you think it would be more difficult to troubleshoot office equipment versus PCs?
I think for Xerox, since we have the machine with us on the floor, I think it will be much easier compared to troubleshooting computers. It's the blind troubleshooting steps. You have to think, you have to assume if the customer sees the same information that you have on your computer. So it will be much easier for me. And same thing goes. I think I'm going to be adjusting first week, and then after I think I can go along.
I see. Okay. Alrighty then, I wish you luck. Thank you very much, Caroline.
Thank you so much.
You may call on the next person, and please direct that person to that seat, okay?
All right, thanks, Julia. Have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, I want you to give me what are those things that you think she did well and she did differently that you think she can improve on. Anyone who wants to give comments? What are those things that she did right and didn't, or probably not didn't, but somehow she can improve? No one wants to give comments on that score of 2 into CSA. So probably we will consider that as grade of 1 already. Okay. 1.4 to 2. Okay. I don't know, masyadong mahaba. 1.4 to 1.9 is grade of 1. Then 2 somewhere will be 125. Okay? No one wants to give comments on that? No one? Gutom na ba kayo, class? 10:47 pa lang. Malayo pa yung lunch. Okay, let's hear it from Joella. What do you think? She did well on the call. Okay, si Don Arbor.
Sir, ano po? Comment ko lang, sir, yung correct call flow na
Okay.
sinabi po nung interviewee.
Okay.
Then, siguro, sir, marami siyang, hindi naman po ganun karami na fear. But overall, sir, ang ganda po ng answer niyo sa mismong tanong and nakakagot siya, sir, ng maayos.
Okay. So, yeah. Maganda yung ano. And you can really hear her smile all throughout the call. So, yes. One more who wants to give comments on that. Let's hear it from Shira. Shai.
Sir, napansin ko po yung sa dulo, yung, kasi po lagi ko nabasa kanina yung may smile po. Rinig yung smile. Ayun po.
Okay, so you really can hear her smile. Okay, thank you. So let's hear score of number 3 in the CSA. Sounds like.
Ring ring.
Thank you for calling Apple Care. My name is Raya. May I have your name, please?
Yeah, it's John Smith.
Thanks, John. Are you calling in for a previous case?
No, it's my first time calling you guys.
May I have your... How may I help you?
I have an iPod Shuffle which I got as a gift last week. I don't really know how to use it. So I need to ask you a few questions if that's okay.
Yes, John.
Okay, so wait, the first question I have is, I'm not sure what's supposed to come with it because I think the gift was bought from a secondhand store. So can you let me know what is supposed to be in the box aside from the iPod itself?
Oh, okay. So am I correct that you're asking of your iPod Shuffle what's in the box?
Yeah, that's my first question.
Okay. So in your iPod Shuffle, there is this Apple earphones, the USB cap, the lanyard, and the iPod Shuffle itself.
Okay, well, I tried playing with it this morning, but it doesn't turn on. Is there something wrong with it?
Okay. Before anything else, can I get your serial number of your iPod Shuffle?
The shuffle was, hold on, looking for it. It's YM630 SEVLAL.
So is it okay if I repeat again your serial number? It's Y as in Yankee, M as in Mike, 630, X as in X-ray, E as in Echo, Z as in Zulu, L as in Lima, A as in Alpha, and L as in Lima. Is that correct, John?
Yeah?
Oh, okay. So your problem is regarding that your iPhone Shuffle won't turn on or respond?
Yeah, I don't know how to turn it on maybe.
Okay, so if the status light, do you have your iPhone Shuffle right in your hand?
No, but I can put it on my hand if that's what you want.
Oh, okay. So let's start it this way. So just press and hold the play button for about 3 seconds
Uh-huh.
until the status light blinks green. Did you see the
Oh, right. I see the green light.
Okay, so is it working?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, one question though. What happens if the shuffle doesn't want to play music? Is there something extra I have to do?
Oh, okay. So just turn the iPod Shuffle off and then wait for 5 minutes. 5 seconds instead. Sorry, Jen. And then turn it on again.
How do I do that?
Turn the iPod Shuffle off. The
How
power button.
do I, where is the power button?
Yes, Jen.
Where is the power button?
It's located in the upper right corner of the iPod Shuffle.
Okay. Alright, thanks for the help.
Okay. That would be all.
Yep.
Can I confirm that your problem regarding your iPod Shuffle has been resolved?
Yep.
Thank you for calling, Apple. Have a great day.
Have a great day too.
Okay, now tell me what you think she did well and she did differently. on that conversation? Okay, that was great. Yes, let's hear it from Joella.
Sir, yung napansin ko po is yung tone ng boses niya po is consistent po throughout the conversation po with the customer. And malumanay lang po, ganun po. Tapos po na-solve naman niya po yung concern nung caller. Then dun po sa medyo ano lang po, since nabanggit niyo po kanina is yung redundancy po, yung okay, parang medyo nag-redundant lang po siya. Yun po.
All right, so that's her verbal nods. Very, very. You can say that that's a transliteration because it sounds like a very Filipino to say okay, right? So you can just simply say I see. Okay, I got that. I see. I got that. All right. So there, you can substitute that with more of culturally appropriate to the person that you are talking to. Okay, next. Jasper, you want to say something about that call?
Ayun po, sir. Yun po yung katulad ng sinabi niyo, tunog native po yung response niyang, okay, parang madidistinguish mong Pilipino yung sumasagot. Pero technically naman po, sir, knowledgeable siya kasi yung tinatanong nung client is nasasagot niya and na-resolve po yung case.
Yes, correct. So that's why it meets the expectations of the call there. Okay, and Perez, want to say something about that?
Ay, nasabi na sir, pero ano lang, siguro yung sequence kanina na tinanong niya muna yung yung nag-jump into conclusion sa agad yung sa tanong niya about yung sa problem niya sa umpisa. Sabi naman niya hindi pa, sabi niya yung hindi na ma-turn off yung phone. Ang tanong niya kasi kanina, dami siyang questions about doon sa niya kasi since nakuha niya sa second-hand store. Tapos nag-jump into conclusion siya na hindi nag-open yung phone. Tapos yung nung nagkukwento na yung customer about doon sa problem niya, bigla niya namang hiningi yung yung account number pa yun. Tapos parang na-interrupt siya. Dapat sa umpisa niya hiningi yun Para habang tag dito, habang binubuksan niya ako, nagkikwento na yung customer, parang na-assess niya na kung paano niya tutulungan para double time ba, yung ganun.
I see. Okay. A very good observation there. Perez. Okay, so let's hear dalawa na lang to, class. Malapit na. Hindi lang kayo yung nagugutom. Nagugutom na din ako. The 4. Okay, slightly below expectations. Let's listen to this.
Okay, ring ring. Thank you for calling helpline.com. This is Cesar. How may I help you? Yeah, here's the thing. I'd like you to trace a number for me. I actually have an identified number in my caller ID, and I'm a little worried. Okay, I'll be glad to assist you with that. I'm sorry to hear that. Can I have the number, please? Okay, the number that shows on my screen is, I see 515-321-7, hold on, it's 515-321-6547. That's the number I see. Okay, may I put you on hold for a couple of seconds just to search that for you? I'm sorry, you're going to do what? May I put you on hold, ma'am, for a few of seconds just to check that for you? Yeah, sure. Can you just hurry up because I'm really eager to know who that person is. Okay, thank you. Thank you for patiently waiting. Mm-hmm. So do you have a name for me? Yes. The number that you gave to me, ma'am, is under the name of Maria Lopez. And would you by any chance, would you have the information like where she's actually from? Because the name doesn't sound very familiar to me.
Yes, do you want me to give her address as well, ma'am?
Yes, please, if you can.
Okay. Do you have a paper and a pen handy with you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, please take note. The address of Maria Lopez is 373 North Oak Avenue, Apple Valley, California, 32152.
What's the zip code?
The code is 32152.
Okay, let me just finish writing that down.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, and what did you say the name was?
The name is Maria Lopez.
Maria Lopez. From California, right?
Yes.
That name isn't really familiar to me, but I'm going to try to call her anyway.
Okay, ma'am. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, actually, I have another request if you don't mind.
Okay.
I was actually trying to call a friend, but it looks like she actually moved out. And I was just, I wanted to know if, her number is actually listed. There's just a couple of things that I have to ask her.
Okay, may I have the name, ma'am?
The last name is Baker.
Baker.
And her first name is Laura.
Laura.
She used to live in California, but I'm not really sure where she is right now, and I just want you to trace for me her number.
Oh, okay. I believe you want her number, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
May I put you again on hold, ma'am? Just to search for that for you.
Sure, just hurry up, okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for patiently waiting. Okay, ma'am. Laura Baker's number is... Okay, wait. Do you have, ma'am, a pen and paper with you?
Yeah, I
Okay,
still have
please
that pen
take
and
note,
paper with me.
ma'am.
Hold on.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the number?
Please take note, ma'am, that the number of Laura Baker is 212-235-4251. Would you like me to repeat that again, ma'am?
No, that's fine. I got that.
Thank you.
How about giving me your address? Would that be possible?
Okay, ma'am. I'll give you his address. Okay. Please take note that the address of Laura Baker is at 325 Broadway Street, SW, Manhattan, New York.
Where in Manhattan? I'm sorry. Where in Manhattan?
New York.
Where in Okay. Oh, so Manhattan, New York.
Okay. Yes.
Where in Manhattan, though? Is there a locality that you find in there? I mean, Manhattan's a very big place.
Okay. In
The address, particularly, do you have that with you?
Okay. Yes. 325 Broadway Street.
What's the name of the street again? Can you say that?
It's written here SW Street.
No. What's the name of the street, please?
I believe this is
The address.
Okay, 325 Broadway Street. I'm sorry, ma'am, but...
Broadway Street. You know what? I think that's good enough already. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for your help.
Okay. Is there anything I can help you with, ma'am?
You've already helped me. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yay.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thank you for calling. Have a nice day.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone wants to give comments on the... Yes, Don Arbor.
Sir, based po sa observation ko, too much hold the customer. Kasi sir, sa ganyan po dapat hindi po siya in-hold. Rather, dapat nag-rapport ka para mas nagkakaroon ng connection between you and the customer. And then, yung tone po niya is not consistent. First po is nervous na po siya. Halata po na kinakabahan, and sa mga process po niya parang hindi pa po siya ganoon kagamay. Parang halata po sir na newbie pa.
All right. Okay,
Ayun lang, sir.
correct. So, first time applicant probably.
Yes, sir. First time.
Yes, and Kim?
Yung sa akin naman po, yung una ko po napansin doon is yung choice of words niyo po. Yung sa sinabi niyo few of seconds, imbes na couple of seconds, kaya napatanong pa po yung parang pinaka-customer kung ano yung sinabi mo, imbes na couple of seconds lang yung pag-hold. Sinabi niya few. Tapos yung sa bandang huli po, parang nakikipagsabayan po siya, hindi niya po pinakauna yung customer, so hindi po sila nagkakaintindihan. And yung tinanong niya po na kung may pen and paper po siya sa pangalawang request ni customer, ay dapat po common sense na meron na siya nun kasi nga nung first call, tinanong niya na, and then yung pinaka-last is active listening po na ayun nga po sabi ni Krish na halatang bago pa lang po siya kasi po nung tinanong na straight, hindi niya po, kahit nasabi niya yung Broadway straight, parang iniisip niya po kung anong straight, ayun nga, nasabi na niya sa mismong word na Broadway straight yung pinaka-answer sa tanong ni JK na kung anong straight, ayun po.
Okay.
Pero overall naman po, nasagot naman niya po yung, tapos naging awkward lang, parang hindi niya po na-end yung call ng maayos. Naging awkward yung closing skill niya.
Yes. Yung HR pa yung nagsabi ng tapos na yung call. Actually, that's just an HR. Even though that is heavily slang, acting as a customer, Filipino yun, which is an HR. Member of a talent and acquisition team, which is of course assessing you. So they will not be kind to you. They will really act as a customer the way an American would act in an actual world. So they will not be, they will not give you consideration as if they are really an American because that's how the real world works. So kung sila pa lang kinakain ka na. Okay, what more the actual call? Ayun. And if you notice also, the meets expectation, the score of 3 and 4, I heard them saying repeat again, even though it's the first time that they are about to repeat what the customer just mentioned. Okay, so it's redundant. So do you want me to repeat it for you? Not do you want me to repeat it again? Because it's the first time that you are repeating it. So why would you say again? Okay, just repeat. Remove the again. So it's redundant. And the score number 4 that person is talking to have a problem enunciating words, right, class? It's really hard to understand if you are struggling enunciating, okay, clearly mentioning those words that you are telling to the customer. So there. So this is the unacceptable call, sounds like. Let's listen to this.
Okay, ring ring. Thank you for calling helpline.com. This is Baltasar. May I have your name, please?
Yes, Angela Jones.
Thank you for that. How may I help you?
Yeah, could you trace a number for me? Because I've been getting calls from someone, and I'm not really sure who this person is.
Yes.
Hello, are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a problem?
Oh, no, ma'am. May I?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Do you have any information with regards with that number?
What do you mean? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, what do you mean?
What I mean is so that I could trace your the one who's called. Sorry. Can I have the number? Do you have a number?
What? Do you have my number?
Yes. Can I have that number, please?
My number? Or what are we talking about here?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, can you get me someone else to help me out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess now I'm lost.
So what's going on? Can you get your manager? If he can't help me, unless you can help me.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. The manager is out for his break.
Okay, so can you help me or not?
Yes, sure, I can help you with that.
Okay. So what? What will you need? What information will you need?
Um, can I have the number of?
Wow, that took forever.
Oh,
Yeah, it's 515-321-6547.
um, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
What? Am I on hold or what? Okay, Baltazar.
Okay.
Okay, let's cut this call. It's taking forever.
Yes.
What's going on?
All right, so there the call of Baltazar. So any comments they want to give to Baltazar on that call? Marisol, what can you say about the call of Baltazar?
So, yung tone ng voice po ng agent sounds nervous. And then he leaves the customer on hold without informing her. And he can't deliver the thought that he wanted to say because unorganized po yung thoughts. And also, parang hindi pa po siya sanay mag-English. And ilan po.
Okay, I see. Thank you so much for your observation. And one more. Oh yeah, Jasper.
Sir, if tama po yung naalala ko, parang hindi pa niya natatanong yung concern ni customer, hinihingi na niya yung number niya, and hindi alam ng customer yung purpose kung bakit hinihingi yung number. So, dahil doon, parang nawala na siya sa sequence and focus, kaya hindi na natulungan yung customer. Kasi nanghingi siya ng specific question na hindi naman yun yung question ni customer. And po, sir.
Yes, correct. Hindi niya alam yung nangyayari. Kasi nga, parang gusto pang tanongin ni Baltazar, do you have the information about the number? Yun nga yung gustong mangyari ni customer. The customer wants an information about that particular number that keeps on calling her. Then Baltazar asks, do you have the information about the number? O, di ba? Kahit si customer na caught off guard. Ano mo gusto sabihin nito? Bakit niya hiningi sa akin yung information? Ako ngayon gusto manghingi ng information sa kanya. So yes, proper probing, wala yung probing and asking open and ended question, open and close ended questions. So there. That's why Baltasar said he is lost. Okay, so wala na. Nothing. No one wants to add comments on Baltasar. Okay. Actually, naging ano yan, si Baltasar. Pinarinig ko sa wave na inadal ko dati. Na parang yung term na Baltazar, naging ano siya, naging synonym na siya pag ano, sa poor performance. Okay. Baltazar moment. Kapag yun, nangangamote ka sa yung call flow, Baltazar. Parang naging ano namin, inside joke namin yan si Baltazar. Tapos may isang wave akong na-handle class. Parang tumatak talaga sa kanila si Baltazar kasi ino-okray niya lagi si Baltazar. Oh, Baltazar moment na yun, Baltazar na yun. Then nung na-endorse sila sa production floor, ang pangalan ng team nila is Team Baltazar. Kasi in-update yung mga pangalan ng team sa loob ng production floor as, name of exotic Filipino surnames or mga hero. Dagohoy, okay, Burgos, Baltazar, Rizal, yun yung mga pangalan ng mga team sa production floor. O, diba? Ironic. Yung team na, yung pangalan na ino-offer nila. Yun yung pangalan, naging pangalan ng team nila. Team Baltazar. I'm sure pag napunta ka sa BPO, maririnig yung story niya. All right, so if no one wants to share anymore, let's open our webcam. And let's take a picture. Ng ating mga future team leaders. QA, and trainers and QA. And I see Jasper, take na ng call. Oh. Future TL. Okay. Dainty, Krishna, Justin, Kim. Si Kim na nasa office pa. Tama ba, Kim?
Wala po. Ang sa sorry. Wala po. Nag-design na ng Friday.
Sige, magpatagal pa kayo. Gutom na yung mga classmates nyo.
Sira po campus, sir. Sorry.
Alright. So, Daniel, Daniel. Okay. Todo na yan. So, 1, 2, and smile. Okay. So, goodbye, class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po, sir.